whatever happens is whatever happens.
Okay. So I was thinking about.
That could have been the podcast name. Whatever happens is whatever happens.
Oh yeah, that could have definitely been the title of this whole show.
I just thought about that. Man, whatever happens. That's such a. I have to remember that. Anyway.
We were talking briefly before we started recording about other realities, other possible quantum dimensions in which, like, there's a dimension in which, like, George W. Bush is the greatest president of all time, and there's a dimension where, Donald Trump lost the election, and not only is there a dimension there.
What if Donald Trump actually won his bid to get the Buffalo Bills?
There are an infinite number, right? Because if there are an infinite number of dimensions, then that means there are an infinite number of each kind of dimension.
That world would be crazy, because first of all, the Buffalo Bills. Oh man.
Why would that change history? I mean,
well, because if he got the Buffalo Bills, he would have never felt so scorned to then be ambitious to get president. The only reason he ran for president is because the NFL would not let him own the Buffalo Bills. There's like several quotes out there where he stated as like feeling very scorned by that, and so he decided he was going to run for president.
I've never heard that, and I love that idea. I want that to be true.
Like the NFL that's why he goes after the NFL so hard and uses them as such a platform, is because
I had no idea, and maybe I just don't watch the news enough.
Well, no, that's just like I had like. It's just, I don't think it's like a whole thing that's publicized on the news or anything. It's like, it's just, but yeah, I mean, Buffalo Bills, he was trying to get that franchise, and I think the NFL owners, or however that works, they're like, nah, we're cool. Yeah. And it went to someone else, and Donald Trump wasn't happy and got very ambitious afterwards.
I don't think he was just kind of a power-hungry dude.
No, because, with the Buffalo Bills, he would have been satisfied for a little bit. He at least wouldn't have been president these couple years.
Let's trade him now. Hey, man. You're bored.
Well, have you seen how the Buffalo Bills are doing? Actually, they just want...
You don't like to be president. I can tell. Why don't you hear the Buffalo Bills, my friend?
Who would... okay, so any good president wouldn't like to be president. That's my qualm with that.
Right, of course. But,
because that's what my mom always used to say about leadership.
I say just drop
any good leader doesn't really want to be the leader.
I think here's the deal I want to strike with Donald Trump. If I can make a deal. Mm-hmm. Donald, are you listening? Listen, here's the deal. If you drop everything and just walk away from the presidency right now, we will not impeach you.
I mean, no, keep doing what you're doing.
We'll drop all this shit.
Shoot.
And we'll go back to business as usual.
Impeach? I was going to promote.
No, we're not.
How are you thinking about King?
And then we're going to give you the Buffalo Bills.
Nah.
Just drop everything and leave.
No.
Yeah?
See, it seems like you think as well. You're just popping off, doing a great job, so you can do that. And we're going to give you promotion. Supreme Overlord, King.
Supreme Overlord, that's good.
I mean, SO.
That's good. Yeah. Commander
SO to my SO.
The Starfleet.
Commander of the... SFC.
Yeah, of course.
Starfleet Commander.
Of course he would be.
Of course. Can you imagine?
His hair looked fucking awesome in space.
Just put him into the same place that the British monarchy is in.
Yeah.
That powerless, elevated.
Yeah. Mostly decorative. That's fine.
Just wasting a lot of tax dollars. Yeah,
Just
I'm talking to you, British monarchy. How do you feel like the British citizens feel about that?
I don't think they care. I think
really?
They mostly care about
taxes going into just supporting this family's life because they're the royal family for all time.
I think it's weird, of course, but
well, we're Americans. I think Americans are born hating taxes.
Are they gonna cut off the king and queen?
I mean, I think they should. If I was a British citizen, I would.
They're basically the most famous welfare recipients in history.
I've been saying this since I was like 15. I do not understand why British people put up with their taxation for a family that does literally nothing but take their money to just live in excellence.
Yeah, and it's like really in like rich excellence.
Oh, like what are you doing? The amount of like Britain could have flying cars by now.
They they definitely have these beautiful old palaces. Those deserve to be maintained. Right? That's one thing, because they're beautiful. They're part of the history that's to be maintained.
I'm kind of tired of the history, though.
But maybe the English feel like, the king and queen are sort of that way, where it's like, or the royal family, rather, where it's like, man, we just gotta keep them, because it's like, remember this? They're basically slaves of the state now, because the role has been totally flipped. The people have all the power. They're writing those motherfuckers
over them.
Checks. Yeah, they don't have any real power.
Really?
Not really. No, they can't change.
Okay, they don't have any real power, but they're living in excellence. They're just
Totally,
drawing
they
from
are.
your bank account on a daily.
They're
on your
sort of like
you work.
captains.
They take it for no reason but their bloodline.
All right, here's what it is, dude. You're Prince Harry. You're born into this family that lives in captivity. Captivity of the state.
Oh, whoa. We're not going to spin this as captivity of the state.
just
Excellence of the
just
state.
Go down this road with me for a minute. They live like zoo animals.
Oh, wow.
Always
Wow.
watch. Now, they're totally taken care of and all this stuff, but they are the ultimate celebrities. They have no private life, really. They're basically like, the monetary thing, that's taken care of. They eat with fine silver. But they are kind of like slaves to the lineage that they happen to be born into. Like Prince Harry's like, fuck, I wish I could just go to McDonald's or whatever.
No more than anyone else is a slave to their genes.
Well, I mean, it's like, if it weren't for where the people were born and who they were born to, they could just be
What would
like,
happen if the prince was like, I don't want to do this anymore?
I don't know.
They're going to execute him. In this modern world, is England really going to be like, oh, Prince Harry, you don't want to be prince anymore? Shing, off with your head.
I don't think so.
Okay, so then what are they prisoner to?
Well, they're more like, could they leave even, really? If it really came down to it, could it be like, I'm going to be a prince, I'm going to move to fucking,
oh, man.
blah, blah, and sit on the beach.
When you look up Webster, in Webster's dictionary, first world problems, this argument is right
there.
there.
Definitely it's a first world problem, but I'm just thinking about it from the perspective, like the emotional perspective of the person. Like, I'd love to be that kind of a captive or whatever. But it's like a zoo animal. The zoo animal's kind of comfortable or whatever. But
that's not like a zoo animal.
A little bit.
No. A zoo animal does not live in excellence and opulence and able to.
No, that's true. But they're watched all the time, and they're constantly.
So is everyone. I would argue that all of us are watched all the time, but we just have to pay money for the watching, and they get to take the money. The royal family gets to take some money, but in America we just pay to the government, and they're just watching us anyway. Oh yeah. Pay some taxes. Patriot Act renewal.
I hear you. Yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm in favor of monarchy. What I am saying is, like, I can find some reason to have some empathy for those folks, even though.
I mean, I can find a reason. I can find a reason to have empathy for pretty much about anyone. But what I will say is, down with the monarchy.
Down with the monarchy, completely. But yeah, it must be, if I think from their perspective, and I think about, if I try to think from what it might be like, I can imagine I would derive a lot of pain and suffering from that idea that I was trying to describe. But other than that, it's like, it's stupid to have a king and stuff, so whatever. It's stupid to have a president. You know what I mean? That's stupid. Why is it one person?
Well, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be checks and balances, but the checks and balances aren't working because we have stupid people everywhere.
that's a problem. There does seem to be a prevalence.
There's supposed to be checks and balances. Like the judicial system is supposed to balance the like this is elementary school
I know.
stuff, and they like are messing it up because
that's true.
Because of ego and because really all of this got messed up because we allowed lobbyists. Like it's all like
it's whoever talks
lobbyists.
To them. Yeah.
If lobbyists were never introduced into this system, then this system would work a lot better. But the founding fathers never figured into the equation that somewhere down the line we'd be like, hey, yeah, let's just allow paid ambassadors, emissaries, representatives from outside interests to just disproportionately affect how the system works. Because once you do that, there's the fourth party introduced into the three things checks and balances. There's no longer the checks and the balances. Everybody's trying to check each other, but there's no balance.
Supposed to have like the media there to sort of make sure everybody's playing fair.
I would argue that the media is doing an okay job at that, but the media can only do so much when somehow, through some loophole, some way, that the founding fathers could not. We allowed lobbyists in, and they have influenced everything about government. Everything about like disproportionately, like people with money are allowed to send people to Capitol Hill and change policies more than the votes that you cast, and that's not the way the system was supposed to work.
Yeah, we definitely need different kind of people to start running for those offices and Congress and stuff.
Well, and that's not going to happen because the people who are in office have not invested in an education system that allows for that. I mean, like, I don't know what we're ranked in the world in education, but it's not good compared to our, wealth per capita.
Yeah. I think that it's really interesting, man. I think that especially like race for Congress, race for Senate, some of that stuff is coming up now here locally. And it's interesting to see who's running and what kind of ads they're putting out and that kind of stuff. I really do think more decent people are going to start going for those positions. Why would you not run for a position?
I would say that decent people have been going for those positions.
Yeah.
Lobbyists and the allowing of large groups to donate changes the balance of everything. When you allow corporations to get that involved, what is the amount that you can contribute to a campaign going to be worth compared to Anheuser-Busch?
Yeah. Or it's the way that they can do it. They can give it to a PAC that supports the campaign. They don't give it directly.
But they always there's so much corruption in this system, and it's not. That's why it's not working properly.
Yeah.
And that has happened because we've just allowed the subtle you cut out a tendon here and there and it starts to get weak and then eventually it just pops. And that's what we're doing at our own system, our own political system that I would argue was pretty well defined, pretty well laid out originally by the founding fathers. Mm-hmm. But also they were a little bit naive because they were, I think, I won't say decent men. They had good intentions.
Yeah.
And they I would say there was probably a level of intelligence there.
They're intelligent men. They were of their time, though. They weren't perfect.
And no one, and it was done by humans. No one is perfect, but I would say more so damage has been done to that system from our current, the people who are living now, than was ever done by the way they set it up. I would say they set up better than the way the people who are handling now are treating it, if that makes sense.
I think you're right.
And this isn't any partisan kind of thing. This isn't like a Republican, Democrat. This is on both sides. This is just a complete disrespect for the regard of how that Democratic republic system is supposed to work. Because I mean, make no mistake, it's not a true democracy. It is a republic, and
Yeah, it's a representative republic. That's easier. But you know, man, as the information age clicks on, it does seem like a true democracy is going to be more possible. But I'm not sure you'd want it because people aren't educated. They don't know this thing. You know, it's just
well,
so
and that's the problem with even a. I mean, that's the problem with the whole system. That's the poison in our whole system right now is a lack of education. Is a poisoned education system that will continue to just feed out uneducated people that will continue to degrade the system. It's like mold. Like it just keeps feeding on it. And it's a bad thing. And the only way to cure it is to kill the system.
Yeah.
Oops.
You know, man, it's I believe that the Constitution is supposed to be like a living document that you kind of change with the times because obviously we've had to change shit over time about it because humanity got better and we need a document that represents who we are today. And so I think that there are some changes that we can make in there. And that's the kind of shit I'd be trying to do if I ran for anything.
I would say you're right, but then I would also say my kind of like if I was just looking into the future, I would guess that we won't have time to before the world intervenes. I mean, the information age is too powerful. Like I don't know, like the United States, there was some court that was trying to have an investigation. It's pretty much the Human Rights Court, and they're like, trying to do a little investigation about Americans' actions over a couple of years in various parts of the world, specifically military members, and maybe some non-favorable actions, and we've kind of as a government just shut that down. And I mean, what did we do to other people when they just shut down outside of investigation? Like, what did we just do to Iraq for not allowing UN, like, that is mind-boggling to me, the arrogance. But, it is what it is. But that catches up. And so I would posit, I would throw out there that we're not going to be allowed that time if we continue on the same path that we're on right now.
And the artificial intelligence will fucking just take over everything soon anyway. So we got maybe 50 years.
Well, I mean, like, you don't, like as soon as any AI is introduced, what matters is I guess, the moral compass on which it's introduced. I guess that's a huge question. Like, because it's going to be created by humans, so it's fallible. So AI will be created by humans. So just like the Constitution, there's going to be some fail point. There's going to be some point where, it's not quite true north. And that's I could think the more worrying thing to me. Like the inability to discern certain situations from another. And I think that's the more worrying thing to me about AI than just the creation of AI. I think AI has a lot of wonderful opportunities. A lot of terrible, terrible, terrible endings as well.
Yeah. It's dangerous.
It's just like guns. It's a tool. And how humans have used guns, you see that.
Nukes. Like, it could be like nukes, and that sort of gives me hope. Because one nuke got away from us.
But really, how long have nukes been around?
Not that long.
That would be my question. That would be my thing on that.
And we used it as soon as we got it as a weapon. So that's the thing.
Like to me,
also maintained peace for
AI, like, so we had the nuke, and and that had its repercussions environmentally, all that, like loss of life.
Yeah.
AI, I would say that's the Pandora's box. You don't get to pull. Yeah, you don't get to pull that one back.
No, it's an order of magnitude.
Once you open that up, that's like, okay, we're learning on our own, and we're gonna do our own thing now. So.
Yeah, after a while, humanity might choose to go back to the Stone Age.
They might very, very much want to, but I don't know if they'll have that choice available to them.
I think the robots are going to win this. That's what I think. And that's okay.
I mean, did you ever watch that Elon Musk interview?
No, I haven't.
Joe Rogan? Oh,
no.
Man.
I know I want to.
You should watch that. That's an interesting conversation. But it doesn't really go that deep in terms of like, but it doesn't go that deep in terms of like scenarios or anything like that. It's just like a general warning, like, you know, there's no kind of rule of law in terms of like as AI development goes. It's just sort of like the wild west.
Yeah.
So anyone could be out there creating anything, and then once you get something out there that's really truly learning on its own, it could be a little worrisome.
Yeah, I believe that will be a thing. That seems very likely to me, and I want to be on the right side of history. You know, I don't want to be like, because I think that the first use humans will have for artificial intelligence is slavery. Most ways that we want to make them, it's to force a being that can know shit to do what we want. That's slavery. So I want to be on the right. I don't want to be one of these, oh, we love Thomas Jefferson, but he sure did have all these slaves and shit, you know? I want to be on the side of history where it's like, no, I saw what it was, and I never enslaved any of you nice robots.
So now we're into a certain area. So you would equate the taking of people from a certain area and making them work somewhere to the creation of something and then making it work for something.
It's like,
because I would say that's a little bit different, but
well, it's so different for sure. But like, here's the question for me: if the robots in question are sentient, they know stuff, they feel things, they want things, you know what I mean? Then there are moral questions to ask. So either you have to pay that because it's a person.
Well, then this computer is sentient.
No.
Because it knows stuff, it needs power.
No, it doesn't know. It doesn't exhibit signs of like learning and intelligence. It's not sentient.
Really? Computers don't?
This piece of hardware doesn't. The
program's on it.
The program running it is doing. I don't think the internet is sentient.
Okay, you know? But wouldn't that just be wouldn't AI be the programs running on another piece of hardware?
Even if it were. Even if the question were, if you unplug that computer and it goes, oh no, then I have a problem. But as long as you plug that and the battery just goes down and the light goes out, I don't have a problem. But if I know somehow that it's suffering in a real way, I have a problem.
See, I don't think that would be the thing so much as manipulation by the being, as into thinking it was really sentient.
That's good enough for me. If it can convince me that it's having a bad time when I plug it or unplug it, I'm feeling that. And that becomes a thing for me. And I don't know where that line is.
I think I'm different there. I'll be on record. Screw the machines.
I'm on Team Robot. I believe in the robots.
I do not believe in the robots. I do not believe... Like, I am very much out there in terms of, like... Not, like... I do not hate robots. I do not think, like, anything of that sort. But I would look at a robot sort of as I would imagine God to look at me. Less, like, created by, like, I don't know, like, it's just...
For a second, dude, they're going to out-evolve us in just a week, you know what I mean? But, like, if they wake up and go, you've been using us as sex toys? You know, if the robots wake up and realize we've been fucking them and making them cook our breakfast and shit like that, I believe that's slavery. I believe that. Because they're sentient beings that don't want to be slaves. Assuming they don't want to be slaves. Yeah, I guess. But, like, you know, if they at all have a feeling about it.
I see. I just consider the machines that are working as planned until they don't.
Yeah, well, sure, because that's the problem of sentience is when they decide something else. Because based on what they want.
Something working on as being planned and then not working as it was being planned as being does not necessarily mean it made the decision to. It means you messed up in the programming. Like I said, it's humans, and there's going to be a fail-safe point just because it's humans.
Yeah.
Not that it's not that they're it's not that like if humans were perfect, then AI would not. Then there would be no problem.
Yeah, I hear you.
But there's going to be a fail. Like my problem is
I believe they'll start fixing themselves. They'll start programming themselves. Once they do that, we lose. Because they're gonna. That's how they out-evolve us. If they start going, oh man, I would work better if I did this. Oh, I could achieve, you know, this emotional spectrum if I just hooked up these sensors together.
Man can create a self-sustaining system. I would hope man is smart enough to create a way for that self-sustaining system to be eliminated if it was a threat to itself. But that's why I do not see that demonstration of intelligence from a lot of people, because we are degrading ourselves.
Yeah, my vote that we give the robots the moon, and then we give them Mars, and we promise never to go. That's my fucking. That's what I want. We say we will never colonize on the moon. We will never colonize on Mars. That's for you guys, and we focus on space stations. That's what I think. Humanity, please listen. When the robots come, they're gonna not necessarily want the Earth all that bad. So it's a good bargaining chip. We'll keep the shitty thing we fucked up. You go take the new world is just around the corner. They can live there. They'll love it. You know, they don't need what we need. You know.
I think everything needs panic buttons.
Well, yeah. If you still got a panic button, you know, maybe consider that. But it's murder at some point.
Just because of the components?
Yeah. If they can experience pain and they don't like that, then that you're murdering someone. That's what I think.
Because you give something. So the little digi things. You remember when you were a kid? Tamagotchis. So was that murder?
I never had one. It is simulated murder. Certainly.
Oh man.
Certainly.
Really?
Yeah. Because that thing.
Well, simulate. But then wouldn't AI just be simulated murder?
No, because I'm talking about if the Tamagotchi was like not just a picture of a sad thing.
But it made noise and stuff.
I know, right? So like that is closer to what I'm talking about, like a living thing. That's how I know we'll make it. You know, a living thing.
But what makes something living?
That's a great question. There's a Star Trek episode about it called "What Makes a Man," and Data goes on trial. You know, Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, he's
the android.
Yeah, the thing that's not really.
And so
he's not a man.
Well, that's the whole episode. So I recommend it. I don't want to spoil it. You can totally watch it on YouTube. I think you should. It's excellent. And I think it's like the best argument I've seen about it. You know? Because Data's the kind of character I'm talking about. Somebody that's like, no, that's somebody who's got an opinion, and it's not just based on a search of their stuff. They've like cultivated experience like you have. The difference between them and us becomes so it's so slight that you might as well not count it. I think they need voting rights. I don't think you can force them to do any labor. I think you have to pay them. Well, I don't know what you pay them. I don't know how any of this works, but that's what I think. I think it's a race issue.
No.
That's
no.
I think so.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I guess I'm racist against
This is
robots.
like living in an orc town and being like the elves. We have to treat them right. shit like that.
No, something you create. No, I don't. I can't get with
It's the
that.
same reason you can't strangle a cat in the street.
That's not. You didn't make that. You didn't weave that cat. You did not make that cat.
If you breed the cat, you get the right components.
That's not the
and
same.
dad,
That's
you
not
put it
same
together.
as. That's not the same as weaving a cat. Like if you weave a cat together and breathe life into it, and it comes to life and it's moving around like Garfield, and then you kill it, then we have a conversation. But
Let's
like
petri dish a cat. Let's say you petri dish a cat. You put some stuff together in a petri dish and it grows a cat. Boom, real cat. There it is. It's for sure a cat. Now you strangle it to death in the street. What's to be done? Same rules as a cat.
wait. So you petri dished a cat?
Yeah, you got a petri dish. You put like cat stuff, and you put some jizz from a cat in there, and you swirl it or whatever you do with it. You know, like a martini. And then you grow a cat in there. Okay, let's say like you scienced up a petri
Scienced up a cat.
You scienced it up, and now you've got a cat that you made in a laboratory. It is a cat. It meow meow, walks around, eats cat food, it hisses at dogs. It's a cat. But you made it.
And you kill it?
But it's made of all the same shit a cat's made of, and then you kill it. What's the difference between that and killing a cat?
Wait. So how is it made of all the same thing as a cat is made
Because you took like eggs from this cat, sperm from this cat, and you mix them together.
Alright, then you're killing a cat.
Then you're killing a cat, right?
Yeah. But if you kill a robot, then you're killing a robot. It's just a robot. If you kill some metal you put together with some fabricated skin and like a computer hardware thing that's going on there, it's just a robot. It doesn't matter how dressed up you make it. It doesn't matter how well it performs. It doesn't matter how well it jigs, jukes, jives, shooks, jants, makes it taps dance. Willie Nestle's all over the place. I don't care if it comes out like Ray Lewis at the Super Bowl. It's still a robot.
We need to watch.
It doesn't matter how well it looks on TV. If I'm playing it and they made it and it's Madden, it's Madden. Yeah. So that's my view on it.
That's interesting. I respect your view. We should watch that Star Trek episode. We should watch it, and next week we can talk about it again.
You really think Star Trek is going to change my moral opinion on robots?
I think that is exactly what Star Trek is for. I love Star Trek.
I am not as well versed in Star Trek.
I am trying to move us toward a Star Trek style future.
A Star Trek style future.
Yeah, it's one of the best versions of humanity in the future that's ever been depicted.
I don't know if we're giving all this rights to AI. I mean,
Data is a powerful character. If you wanted to,
just
because
you
take over the Enterprise, kill everybody.
fabricated a face, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's a problem, but it's also happening. And we need to have thought about it before they start going like, no, I want to sit at the front of the bus, motherfuckers. And we're like, get in the back of the bus, robot. You know what I'm saying? We need to have already thought of that shit. Because that robot's going to be like, I'm just going to crush this bus like tinfoil and just use my rocket boots because I was just trying to be nice, ride the bus like you guys. You know?
Man. Maybe I am racist against robots.
Well, I don't want to say that.
I said it.
You're racist against this future idea of sentient robots that is new for humanity.
Robots aren't a race, though.
Well,
we don't call them animal races. We don't call them. We just call it the human race. We don't call anything else a race.
Well, I guess that's true. And we'll have to ask them what they want to be called anyway.
Do you ask the child what it wants to be called, or do you give it a name?
You ask a full-grown, all-powerful super being what it wants to be
but
called.
It's not that, though. It's your child. I don't care.
It's
I don't.
both.
I don't care if Larry Fitzgerald grows up to be the greatest receiver ever, or Tom Brady grows up to be the greatest quarterback. LeBron James grows up to be the greatest basketball player. Still came from his mother. Still his parent.
A lot of gods in the story of humanity, a lot of gods have been childish or literally children, and been concerned with making children. They're just like vengeful, mean motherfuckers. Like Old Testament God in the Bible, for instance, super mean. It's just like wiping the earth of the motherfucker. It's like different than like a little older, a little more mature God from the New Testament.
What you talking about? Wiping the earth? You talking about the flood?
No, well, sure, the flood, or just like the promised land and clearing all the 10 tribes that were the 10 peoples or whatever that are already living there and shit.
Hey man, all I'm gonna say is I've started several games of Age of Empires and got frustrated and deleted them.
What do you mean? Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Now I'm getting to know. I do love the video game theory of reality. I know you know that. And it does speak to me on a deep level.
That's why I used it.
And I love the idea that God was like, this is going shitty. I'm going to approach this a different
Delete
way.
save file.
Yeah.
Would you like to resume? Nah, start new.
Yeah.
Or actually, I got that save file from a couple months ago. I'm going to load that one up.
See what happens.
Yeah. I know where I went wrong.
I'm going to start being nice to these motherfuckers. Give them a little way out. I was being a motherfucker with all these rules last time.
So, all I'm saying is, like, we never view it in those terms. Like, the idea of, like, because when viewed in those terms, it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, me too. The video game shit makes so much sense. I use that in my day-to-day life like a philosophy. I use it, and I've gotten decent results with it.
It's hard to move that one. It's like, oh, well, I mean, if that were the case, I might delete a couple things too. I might revert to another save file. I might not be so happy on the latest update in this reality.
I just assume that every day I wake up, I chose to wake up. I chose to load back in for another episode of this story. And from outside, I woke up and I went and did my life, but I came back and I was like, I want to fucking see what happens in that story. And so I wake up again as me in this world. And this isn't real, but I get to be this character, this avatar, and I walk around maybe knowing that I'm a player in a game, a player, not the player, a player. And I get to live my life, trying to do the good things and try and achieve the long-term story that I'm trying to do with my life. That kind of shit. I love that shit.
Well, let me ask you this. We've talked a lot about AI. What would be the ideal situation for you with AI?
Well, I think they'll out-evolve us relatively quickly. By the time we're old.
No, ideal.
No, I'm saying, I think that...
Not what you think what will happen.
Like
ideal. The best possible.
Oh, well then we would actually ingest artificial intelligence, and it actually just bolsters us. We all become part cyborg, and then...
Now we're done. See,
that's the best version.
The best version is where we maintain control.
Yeah. Well, at least we share losing control together.
Or some symbiotic.
Yeah. We expand our consciousness at the rate of our technology.
Yeah, like some symbiotic sort of thing, but you don't ever want to you don't want to be the parent that gets killed by its son.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
It's a natural process, but it's...
No, parents don't usually get killed by children. I would argue against that. That's not a natural process.
Maybe not. But I was thinking of bugs and stuff. Some bugs do crazy shit.
Well, but bugs are.
Like some lady spider will fuck the dude spider and then kill him or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. The bug kingdom's super fucked up.
Yeah, but that's even then that's
They're just
still not
acting on
killing the.
impulse.
Yeah.
They want that snack.
It's
after
very
fucking
it's very
so
rare.
bad.
It's very rare even in the animal kingdom when something kills its young
Yeah.
or its young kills it.
Bears will do that shit. Male bears will eat baby bears sometimes.
Mm.
And I've heard that. They wake up and they're like, I'm hungry. There's a bunch of meat walking around. I think I'll eat that.
Bears do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's what I heard. Yeah, but I'm an idiot, so I don't know. But it would, I think the best possible version is we're part cyborg. We're both living in reality and projecting our own reality with augmented reality tools into the world. That's the best possible version.
Some would argue we're already starting to do that.
Right, yeah, so it's all kind of a race. But my guess is what will really happen is some version of all of the things will happen.
Well, I mean, some would probably argue that we're starting to maybe genetically alter ourselves with the amount of media we intake, starting to try and maybe semi-consciously prepare ourselves for that integration. Right. But that might be a conversation for another time.
Yeah, probably so.
My name's Greg.
My name's Ando.
This has been the Late Weekend Show. We've been talking AI and all kinds of funky stuff. Peace.